Hi all, I'm Shikha Tiwari. I'll be your host for today's webinar. Me and my team over here, we promise you that this would be a great learning experience for all of you. Also, a special welcome to our patrons attending webinar today and a warm welcome to all the new joiners if you're attending one of our webinars for the first time. So just before we begin with the session, as this evening is all about algo and quant trading, I would like to brief you a bit about Quantensity, a pioneer in algorithmic and quantitative trading. We at Quantensity are a team of traders, coders, quants, and learners who love to teach, train, and help you implement this knowledge in your trades. We have been in the industry for nearly 10 years now, with registered users from 165 plus countries. In today's event, we would be taking an overview of the algo trading industry, the current market share, trends, and volumes, what's in store for us, the growth and future of algorithmic trading globally, the risk measures, career prospects, new initiatives, and yes, how you can become an algo trader. For the same, we have our very own Nitin Agrawal, who would lead us into this insightful session. So before I give it over to Nitin, just a brief introduction. Nitin is the co-founder of Alpha Advisory, which focuses on high-frequency trading. He's also one of the faculty members in Quantency's executive program in algorithmic trading, where he covers topics related to statistics, econometrics, and market microstructure. He holds a bachelor's degree in technology from IIT Roorkee and is an alumnus of IIM Calcutta. Perfect. So let's begin. Over to you, Nitin.
So thank you so much, Shikha, for the introduction. Those are some really kind words
Thanks,
that you
Nitin.
said. All right, I really appreciate it. So algorithmic trading is a growing field, right? And it's really great to see how the interest to be in this field and really to succeed in this field is rising day by day, right? In fact, when I talk around in the industry, you know, I get this feedback that almost every day a new trading desk is propping up, right, in India and all around the world. It's great to see this sort of response for algorithmic trading. Thank you so much. All right. So what we have for you today is what I'll be discussing with you guys today is I'll start with what really is algorithmic trading, right, and why is it important, so that I know that around 40% of you guys are already trading, but for the rest of people who don't know what algorithmic trading, I want to set a platform that this is the field, and this is what we are talking about when we talk about algorithmic trading. And then I will discuss the industry trends, right, how rapidly this field is evolving, and then what it takes to be an algorithmic trader, right? And finally, and frankly the most important thing, how will Quantensity with its EPAT course help you get into this industry, right, or start or build a career in this field, right? All right. Yeah, so I will take, don't worry about the questions, I will take your questions once I'm done with the presentation, right? So I will, there are a lot of questions that people are asking, so don't worry about it. We have enough time to answer, your questions. All right, great. So, right from the beginning, what is algorithmic trading, right? And, interestingly, because this field is relatively new, right, there are different definitions of what algorithmic trading is dependent upon the geography you are in, right? So for example, in India, right, the Securities Exchange Board of Investors, right, the SEBI, they define algorithmic trading as any order that is generated using automated execution logic, right? So any order that is generated through a machine or through a code, and they would define it as algorithmic trading in India. However, if we move to Europe, a lot of you guys would be knowing the MiFID II regulations, right? So according to that, they are more stringent about what algorithmic trading is, and they say that when a computer algorithm automatically determines the parameters of orders, right? When to initiate an order, right? What quantity, how much price. So when a computer is doing all this, then it is called an algorithmic trading order, right? Or an algorithmic order. But the interesting point to note over here is they say that if a system is being used to only route the orders to different exchanges, right, then it is not an algorithmic, then it is not included in algorithmic trading. However, if you open the Wikipedia page, they would include this order routing system in algorithmic trading, right? So we have different definitions in different geographies, right? In the US, any systematic trading is known as algorithmic trading, right? Whether you're generating an order through a machine, you're executing it. So anything that is generated by a machine is basically algorithmic trading, right? And the reason why these different definitions exist and there's no unified definition is because this is a relatively new field, right? But the most important thing is that it's evolving very fast, right? And I will discuss the trends in the next slide, right? So in fact, according to us, algorithmic trading is, we define algorithmic trading as any sort of trading that where a machine is helping us to make a decision or execute that decision, right? So that is frankly our definition. But again, various definitions because the field is relatively new, right? All right. Now, just to see these industry trends, right? It's mind-boggling. In Asia, in 2004, the percentage of trades that happened because of algorithmic trading or through algorithmic trading was less than 5%, right? In 2016, it was around 35 to 40%, right? Mind-boggling rise, right? In the US right now, the numbers stand around 65 to 70% of all the trades happen through algorithmic trading, right? And even in India, the overall market for algorithmic trading is around 35%, right? So a lot of trading has shifted to algorithmic trading, right? And there's an interesting trend that we can compare here, right? So what we've done here is if we compare the rise of algorithmic trading with the rise of DIY traders. DIY traders is just it's do-it-yourself traders, right? Traders who don't rely on the advice of brokers or investors to trade, right? So do-it-yourself traders. So with the advent of algorithmic trading, the rise of such traders have also increased. So if you see in this graph, right, this small black box in the top of this bar graph are the DIY traders, and the share of these people is also increasing. And the reason is because algorithmic trading will help you trade by yourself, right? You don't need anybody else. You just need a machine, a connectivity to the exchange, and that's that, right? So it with the rise in algorithmic trading, the number of self traders, right? People who trade by themselves is also increasing. But an interesting thing here, and the last thing on the slide that I want to discuss is that, out of this 35% market share, even in India, right? The retail participation in algorithmic trading is only 2%, right? The trends have been increasing, it helps retail traders to trade, but still the participation is low. And why is it low? That's an important question, and I will answer that question in a couple of slides, right? But why is the retail participation low, right? But so far, it's what I want to put across is that this industry is really growing, and if I see the scenario in the job market, right? jobs are getting automated, right? And it's not even in this industry, right? Even the auto industry, right? We have driverless cars, right? And in the e-commerce, we have drones that are delivering packages, right? So everything is getting automated. And obviously, trading, it's pretty much the same with trading, right? So, these are the few headlines that we could that really show the impact of algorithmic trading on jobs, right? So a Goldman trading desk that had 500 people at one point of time was reduced to only 3, because most of the job that people were doing was getting automated, right? Citigroups, it's forming a lab where traders are now coders, right? They're developing their strategies, coding their strategies, and letting the machine trade, right? And coders to trade. So, it's the distinction between coders and traders is narrowing day by day with algorithmic trading, right? And so one question that comes to my mind is why is algorithmic trading rising, right, to this extent? I mean, what's happening here? Like, why is this the buzzword? And if I compare, so the best way to do is just compare how algorithmic trading or how machine trading is better than a human trader, right? So I have like 4 points where machine will beat a human trader 100 times, 100% of the times, right? So say uptime, right? And in fact, so if I give you my example, right, I started in this field back in 2013, right? And the first strategy that I traded was actually manual, right? So I mean, the machine told, so my back testing told me what trades to take today, but I had to manually punch the orders and monitor the risk on the screen the whole time. So, it was a tedious task, right? I mean, I remember if I had to go for a lunch break or a washroom break, I had to ask somebody else to look at the screen so that he can monitor the risk and whatnot. I mean, it used to be really tedious. And, by the end of the trading day, I was absolutely exhausted, right? Because, staring at the screen for 6-7 hours is a tough thing. But when I shifted, I automated my trading, you know I could see the difference. I mean, the machine will not fatigue, right? It's as simple as that, right? It will monitor the risk for you, it will take the trades for you, so you really don't have to be there. So like these days, today I go in the morning, I just switch my computer on and I go out for a coffee break. Well, I don't care, because I know that the machine is doing its job, right? Making money for me. It's really great to see how much of a difference can a machine make to trading, right? Then reaction time, right? I mean, the best response, and with people with extremely high IQ, I would think that they can, they'll have a reaction time of maybe zero point 0.1 seconds, right? I mean, come to think about it, if I tell you that you bought 77,000 shares at a price of 39 rupees or dollars, and the stock went to $28, how much loss do you have? It will take you 77,000 into 11, it will take you at least 5 or 10 seconds, right, to figure out what's happening. The machine will do it in a microsecond, right? Even less than that, nanoseconds, right? So I mean, if a human being just cannot compete with the machine in reaction time, right? It just goes without saying, right? Scalability then. Again, when I started, I used to trade around 10 to 15 contracts, and the maximum when I was manually trading, I think I went to around 30 or 40. That was because, frankly, I just couldn't trade more. You cannot concentrate on more contracts. It takes a toll. But right now we can trade hundreds and thousands of contracts in a go, because the machine can do it, right? uh, and it can monitor the price, it can monitor the risk. So and different exchanges, right? If I have to trade on different exchanges, I can just set up the same strategy on different exchanges and scale it up, right? So scalability is so easy with algorithmic trading. And then errors, right? uh, a lot of times, when you're in stress, or just by mistake, you can, if you are punching your orders manually, right, there's no telling when a, a typing error or typo happens, right? In fact, uh, a couple of weeks, I think, back, there's a stock called Dr. Reddy, and that is traded in India. There was a there must have been a trader who actually punched the wrong price for an order, and the order went through, and the price of that stock just fell around 10% in 5 or 10 seconds, right? And then it went back up, and that trader, just because of that typing error, he lost thousands of dollars, right? So such typing errors are negligible in algorithmic trading, right? When machine is punching an order, and when it is telling you what it is telling the exchange, what price, what quantity, when to initiate, such typing errors are non-existent, right? So these are the reasons why everybody is moving towards algorithmic trading, right? You just cannot beat a machine, right? It's humanly impossible to beat a machine, right? So now the point that the question that I left on the second slide was, why is the retail participation so low, right? The trends are saying that algorithmic trading is increasing. We've seen jobs are getting shifted towards algorithms, toward coders. We know the benefits of algorithmic trading. Then why is still the retail participation so low, right? And the reason, the three things that we believe that are the reason for this is, the first is, earlier, when there were manual traders, right, a trader's job was to figure out what's happening in the market and punch orders, right? So most of the knowledge that he was required was about market and finance, right? So these are the two things that he must know. So he can observe what is happening in the markets, he can punch his orders and make profits through that. But now with algorithmic trading, whatever idea you have, right, whatever you would have done manually, you have to automate it, right? You have to write a piece of code in the machine so that the machine can replicate what you used to do, right? So you need that technical know-how, right? So besides the market and the finance knowledge, you also need to know the technical aspects, how to code it in the machine, right? You also need a lot of statistics now. With the advent of computers, there's so much of data that you can go through, right? You can really mine a lot of data, right? You can have data for decades now, right? Identify trends. Uh, you can use statistical operations on that data to figure out, this is a trend, maybe I can use this to build a strategy and whatnot, right? So statistical knowledge, as a quant trader or an algorithmic trader, statistical knowledge becomes very important, right? And then the second point is market access. Because you need so much of data to mine, you need the access to that data, right? So that you can test your hypothesis, your ideas on historical data and see whether it would have worked. So you need that access to brokers, to backtest those, to brokers and to data, so that you can backtest your ideas, right? And the third thing is, you need some guidance, right? It's and I know it's difficult to shift from manual trading to algorithmic trading. You need a guidance from a practitioner, from a market practitioner who's done that or who's doing that, right? Because so that he can tell you a good way of shifting, right? And you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? It's already done, people do it. And so you don't have to do it all by yourself, right? You can easily you can take the guidance of practitioners who've done this, who are doing this, so that this transition is easy. But the thing is, getting all these three things in one platform is difficult, right? It's difficult, and it becomes, a lot of time it might become overwhelming for a person who wants to build a career here, or who wants to start algorithmic trading, right? So this is why we believe that retail participation is very low, and this is where quant industry comes into play, right? The EPAT course, it will bridge this gap, right? So if you are a starter, right, it will help you understand how to get into this field or how to start with this field, right? And if you're already in this field, it will, you can have guidance of market practitioners, and uh, you can for the technical know-how to start algorithmic trading, right? So let me just discuss why and how quant industry really helps in in starting with algorithmic trading or building a career in algorithmic trading, right? First of all, we have a very rich content, right? Uh, which is actually built through market practitioners, right? This content is built by people who are actually trading, right, and who know the tricks of the trade, right? And it is updated, more often than not. Because so if I have to go back and look at the content that was there in 2011, and if I have to compare the content that we have now, it's extremely different, right? Because it has been updated. This field is evolving, so obviously the content gets updated, right? And through people who are in this field, who are trading, right? So it 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 becomes, it becomes a great resource to understand what's happening, and uh, how to go about it, right? And we have a very, very dedicated support team, right? Really, kudos to the support team. And they actually bridge the gap between the faculty and student, right? So if a student has any query about what's going on in the course, he has a question related to any aspect of trading, they would connect him to the right faculty and get his query resolved. And believe me, no query whatsoever gets missed. And I mean, I get queries almost every day, and if I don't reply in a couple of days, they're after my life, that what, you haven't replied, you need to reply. And we have a great tat for replying, right? And then again, the course is practitioner driven, right? And I'll give you an example. So when I in 2011, right, I had absolutely no clue about what trading is. So I took a course in my graduate school, right, about trading, and that is how I got into this field. But I mean, yes, the course was great, but it was very much academic oriented, right? I mean, after that course, I couldn't trade, really, because I mean, the course was great in its content, but it was very academically oriented, right? But with quant density, it is, the content is all about what is happening right now, what people are using right now, right? And so if we are discussing a strategy, more often than not, an aspect of that would be, we would be using it somewhere in our strategies, right? So it's not, it's very much market oriented, right? And that is what gives it the richness, right? The content, the content gets its richness, right? It's all practitioner driven. Then again, we have a great career cell, right? And the career cell will help you right from resume building to setting up your own trading desk, right? If you have any questions about how to set up a desk, what to do, because we've done it ourselves, we can easily help you out, right? We also conduct mock interviews for your placements. We've partnered with more than 100 companies for you know you can access that network. So and this is, I mean, it's a great opportunity to start or build a career in this field. And then the global EPAT community, we have a lot of exclusive EPAT benefits, a lot of community things that that goes on. There are a lot of features, and I will discuss about these features later on, right? All right, so let me just go through the content, right? uh, we start from the primer module, right? So as soon as you register, you'll get a primer, right? Why is that? Because we get students from various backgrounds, right? People who've done their undergraduate in maths and finance, economics, statistics, arts, whatever, right? So we want to make sure that when they start with the classroom lectures, they're all on the same page, right? Even if somebody has done their graduation or undergrad in finance, it's quite possible that they've forgotten it, right? After maybe they're coming here after 20 years, 30 years, it's quite possible that they've forgotten it, right? So it's very important that when we start, everybody is on the same page, right? And that really helps to build the foundation blocks, right? And even so, as soon as students register, right, I start getting calls because people are going through the primers. If they have any difficulties, I'm sure every faculty is getting calls, because, and we personally, I have personally talked to so many students. I've taken calls that lasted 30 minutes, even 1 hour, so that if they're not understanding anything, we make sure that all your doubts are cleared, right? So we start with basic statistics, right? Probability theory, application of financial models, like the basic financial models, right? So we start from building the absolute foundation blocks, and then we go to the Python basics and quant, so that when you've built those models, you can straight away start writing small codes, right? And we'll help you understand how to write codes, and so that whatever you are doing, you can implement it as a code, right? And just to tell you about we how much dedicated we are, that we have to update the content. So earlier we used to give lectures on C++, but we saw that students are finding it hard because C++ is a harder language to learn. And we also realized that the quant trading world is moving towards Python, right? So we dropped C++ and we started with Python, because, and now if you ask me, most of the quants use Python as their coding language to backtest their strategies, right? So we saw that that transformation well before, and we make we made the appropriate changes, right? Then we from Python and Python basics, we move to uh, advanced stats for for your ARIMA and Gaussian models. So this is more advanced statistics, more advanced models to develop, to have an understanding of more complex strategies. Once these statistical tools and these building blocks have been made, we move to equity, FX, and future strategies. Right, where we cover different strategies on equities and futures, FX, and this is a more of a hands-on module, right? Where you would be working on the strategies that are discussed. From here to we move on to market microstructure for HFT trading, right? Uh, we discuss Markov models, their implementations, right? And then from there we move on to the trading and back testing module, right? So once you've built your modules, how the strategies work, you can back test the ideas on historical data, right? So this module is all about how to test your ideas uh, on historical data, right? uh, and you can use different APIs of different brokers to backtest your strategy, which I think is a great way of starting up with in this field, right? Uh, we also have a module on machine learning, right? Machine learning is a new field. I personally, I know the faculty, and he's great in what he teaches, and I personally believe that algo traders should be very apt in machine learning, because that's where the future is, right? Then we also have a module on on trading tech infra and operations, right? How the infrastructure of algorithmic trading is set up. Now, a lot of students think that, why do we have a module on this, right? As a trader, my uh, focus should be on developing strategies, right? So why is infra and operations important to me? But then, one of my colleagues gives this example, and I really like that example, right? That if you want to become an F1 racer, right? Then it's great if you're a good driver, right? But you need to know about the machine, the internals of the machine, right? Of the car, right? So if you are accelerating, right? If you're accelerating the car, the machine, then you know when you should accelerate it, when you should not, right? You shouldn't fail, you shouldn't do it at the wrong time, and you shouldn't overstress the machine, right? So operations are very important. In fact, when I started my desk, I ran into so much of problems with operations, and luckily I could find people who could help me out, right? So it becomes very easy if there's a practitioner who guides you through this journey, right? Then again, we have uh, a module on options trading. This is one of my favorite modules, option trading and strategies, where we discuss strategies on volatility, trading dispersion. I really like this module. Then we have a module on portfolio optimization, right? How to efficiently optimize the portfolio, how to manage risk. In algorithmic trading, risk becomes very important, and we have a separate module to understand how we can manage risk, right? And then yeah, so I think I've covered each module. Yeah. So, and then finally we have a project work, right? So right at the end of the course, quant and floats a lot of projects that. So projects are basically ideas, right? And again, these are not academic projects, right? I mean, these are things that can be used in the market, right? And you'll be assigned a guide or a mentor who will actually, walk you through this project, and will help you develop a strategy based on the project, and you can implement it live. And we have students who've back tested the ideas, put up their own thoughts in the project work, and then went live, and it's going great for them, right? And then finally, to get the certificate, the EPAT certificate, you have to take the exam. And these days we are giving verified certificates, because frankly, that was the demand of our partner companies, right? So now when you take the exam and pass it, you will get this verified EPAT certificate, right? So, and together this, this means that, this is 120 plus hours in the classroom, right? A coursework of 300 plus hours, right? So, and, most importantly, this is hands-on, right? A lot of these things are hands-on so that, you have the practical know-how of doing all this, right? Just an overview of our faculty, right? You can go to our website and research about any of them, but I'll just give you a quick overview. Anil, he focuses on scalable low latency strategies. Brian Christopher, he's founder of Black Ops. It's a quantitative firm. Dr. Chan, a very well-known name in this field, he runs his own fund in Canada, and in fact, his fund was one of the top performers, in the last couple of years, and he's also published a lot of books in this field. So he's a really well-known guy in this field. Eric Hammer, co-founder of Quantiax and one of the platforms and tools that gives access to the market, right? Quantiax. Gaurav Raizada manages a hedge fund of his own and founder of iRage Capital, one of the biggest HFT firms in India. Dr. Julio, a founder of Running River Investments based out of US. He's also the author of iBridge Pi API. Ishan, he's an expert in statistical arbitrage and options. He has excellent experience in financial markets, spanning in different asset classes and in different roles. Nitesh, great guy. I'm frankly, I really admire this guy. Current CEO of Quant co-founded Quant is also the co-founder of iRage Capital. Great guy. I really admire him. Pradipita Ghosh, a seasoned quant. He currently leads, I think he currently leads the fintech products and and platforms that are developed at Quant Institute. Rajiv, right? Again, I personally admire him too. He's been my mentor too. Excellent knowledge of options and risk management. Again, a co-founder of iRage Capital. Great guy, right? And Varun, he's an expert on market microstructure. Leads the Contra research team at Quant Institute. The great thing is that each of these faculty, they're very approachable, right? I mean, if you have a doubt, it's very easy to approach any of the faculty, right? And they will be able to help you, with most of your problems. And even if there's something that we don't know, we'll make sure that we get in touch with somebody who knows, right? So like Vivek, right? He's the go-to person for if you want to learn computational finance, right? And Dr. Evis Hilch, he's an expert in Python and mathematics finance. So I think all of these faculty, they're really very knowledgeable and very approachable. So that makes it very easy for anybody who really wants to learn and to start in this field. And I just wanted to talk about the career cell. So as I said, right, I mean the career cell starts right from the basics, right? From CV preparation, mock interviews. I've taken mock interviews for for different firms. In fact, so it becomes easy when when things are getting started right from the word go, right? I mean, and then you can have access to different brokers, their APIs, right? I mean, it's different platforms. So if you want, so we also bridge if you need help in fundraising, if you need help in accessing a broker, we have access to that network, right? So it it really becomes very easy for for you to start, because it's this network, the ability to access that network that also generates a lot of value, right? And in fact, we've had people who have set up their own desk. And in fact, I think a month back, this person was finding it difficult, and he had questions about co-location servers. And he talked to me for around half an hour, and I could probably see I mean, he was asking the same question that I did back in 2000, a couple of years back. So because we've gone through this path, we can easily let you know that this is what you need to do, and this is what will work, right? And there's a lifelong guidance. I always say that once an EPAT team, always an EPAT. It's like a family, right? So and then these are the few things that our students have said about us. Sunil Kumar, he said that EPAT has given him the confidence to build, code, and backtest his own trading strategies, right? Dr. Panache, right, helped him to set up his own algorithmic and high frequency desk, learn to develop quantitative strategies. And and these are just the few, right? There are thousands of such such comments by the student that really encourages us to do more, right? And then EPAT alumni. So we are, as Shekhar was saying in the at the start, right? We have students from over 165 countries, right? So it's like a community, right? You can connect with the alumni. You can more often than not, you can find somebody in your country, and uh, you can work with him, right? And then finally, I just wanted to tell you the EPAT team benefits, right? Exclusive events and sessions, right? So we have conducted seminars, webinars with SGX, the Singapore Exchange, National Stock Exchange of India, Malaysian Stock Exchange, Thailand, and we've done a lot of these events, and we have connections with these stock exchanges, right? We recently collaborated with WorldQuant, right, which obviously brings up more opportunities and benefits to the participants. And then you get free and subsidized access to brokers, right? You get access to backtesting tools such as Blueshift. Blueshift is a in-house simulator to backtest your strategies, right? And you have access to lifelong access to this most updated content lifelong, right? And you have career investment. In fact, I have students calling me from 2014, 15, that then we want help with this. Could you help me with this? And I'm more than happy to help them out if I can, right? So as I said, it's once an EPATian, always an EPATian, right? And also, this program is recognized under the financial training scheme of the Institute of Banking and Finance, Singapore. So, this actually benefits the working professionals in Singapore. If they apply through their employers, they can get a benefit of 2,000 Singaporean dollars as reimbursement. So, there's a lot of benefits that come along. And I think one of our students summed it very well for us. It's not only a certificate, so it's way more, right? It will add a fundamental quantitative dimension to your existing skill set, right? So I'm always very excited to see a new batch registering and starting up, because I know that if you are passionate about trading, I think Quant Insti can help you in a great way to build your career in this field. Right? All right. Thank you so much for this. I will hand it over to Shikha.
All right. Thank you, Nitin, for sharing your valuable views. It was a great session. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm sure so did our audience here today. So, as rightly mentioned by Nitin, that algo trading is growing at a rapid pace. but that's one of the most basic reasons. Apart from that, there are few specific reasons why EPAT has seen a surge in the number of interests. We now have a strong base of EPATians from 65 plus countries, 100 plus placement partners, various collaborative activities and recognitions with leading institutions across the globe. So you have IBF Singapore, Bursa Malaysia, SGX, NSC, Kenanga Investment Bank, you have World Quant. We are associated with interactive brokers as well. We have been doing a lot in the student domain too, with sessions in leading institutes like NTU and NUS from Singapore, IIMs and IITs in India. And the most recent addition to the list is accreditation from Continuing Professional Development, that's the CPD in the UK. All right. So speaking of World Quant, we have with us today Ben Mignano, an EPAT alumnus who has been able to learn and implement his learnings from EPAT. So to all of you, today Ben would be sharing his experience, his challenges, the assistance and support Quant Institute provided. You will also get to know the best way to extract optimal value from EPAT. Over to you, Ben.
Okay. Hi, how you doing? And thank you, Nitin, for that terrific presentation. And I'm glad to be here. And let me start with my journey that began in 2005 when I decided to take and embark on day trading. It was a difficult process, and I was having a hard time trying to profit, trying to deal with my emotions and the speed of the market. So I figured, well, you know, it's got to be a way to do this. And I found out it was a way to do it effectively, and that was by a program. And so I got into MQL programming and decided to work on some coding and learn about how the markets work with the code and the automated trading. And from that point, my love affair began to grow with quantitative and algorithmic trading. Years later, still not successful, I decided, well, then I needed to go and find out what's the best method to really learn how to algorithmically trade. And I came upon this website called Quant Institute. There, I applied and got introduced to the basics and fundamentals of algorithmic and quantitative trading through their schooling, rigorous training and rigorous teachings of the expert professors. And it was a great process because they've actually guided me through along the way. They taught me every little facet of trading algorithmically and quantitatively. And there I've got introduced to Python and R coding, which enabled me to write scripts and expressions and code. And soon after that, I was able to actually write my own program and submitted it in for a passing grade. After that, I received my certificate as an EPAT. And not long after that, I was offered an opportunity in World Quant as a research consultant. That was a great thing. Why? Well, it actually helped me to learn more about the industry as a professional, and I was getting paid monthly and paid by bonuses working as a remote engineer, research consultant at World Quant. Currently, I'm still working with World Quant, and things are getting much better. My code's getting much better. They appreciate my complex coding style, and I'm looking forward to the bonuses by the end of the year. And my experiences and journeys along the way paid off in a field that I feel is becoming more glamorous and prosperous in the future. And in the event of artificial intelligence, which soon take over, which is being taught by Dr. Ernie Chan through Quant Institute, I'm wanting to get involved with that course and learn about that as well. Hopefully, I'll be able to actually have like a more, like, say, this sentient approach to my algorithms through artificial intelligence taught by Dr. Ernie Chan, and be more profitable as the future embarks. So I feel this field is growing immensely, and simply because people are not wanting to stick by the computers all day, babysit their computers, babysit their trades, instead have it conducted by algorithms and quantitative analysis. And so through Quanticity, it helped me to see this vision come to fruition. I appreciate what they've done for me. I'm looking forward to actually receiving more instructions from them in the future. So I appreciate my presenters giving an excellent analysis on how this field is conducted, and I'm looking forward to more input from them later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, for your
My
time.
pleasure.
And yeah, your journey has been inspiring, and I'm sure that a lot of people would be able to relate themselves with it. It was an amazing session today, and before we move ahead, I would just like to throw some light on EPAT. EPAT is Quantincity's flagship program. This practice-oriented program sees the participation of traders, programmers, analysts, industry professionals, and even students from across the globe. EPAT aims at making you industry ready in order to set up a trading desk, or with your career opportunities, a domain change, or if you are looking out to venture into the quant and fintech domain. Thanks again. You were a brilliant audience and two brilliant speakers for us tonight. We look forward to meeting you again. Until then, have a good day and bye-bye.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.